And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Up first on the hazardous weather graphic, we've still got winter weather advisories out for tonight and tomorrow up here for the eastern Boulevard Sea coast and this portion of the north slope there along the Dalton Highway in toward the Brooks Range. And that's for continued gusty winds anywhere from 35 to 50 miles an hour and gusts with 1 to 3 inches additional snowfall. And that'll blow around, creating visibilities less than a half mile at times. And then down here from the White Mountains north of Fairbanks, right across the greater Fairbanks area, on down in toward Nenana and toward the Alaska Range there in the shaded area. That's a winter weather advisory also for periods of heavy wet snow through Thursday, and could see pretty good amounts of varying accumulations here of snow throughout the area there. Otherwise, satellite imagery showing fast flow from west to east now across the interior here. Areas of clouds pushing all the way into the Canadian Yukon there. Another band here coming into the lower Yukon River Valley area in the Kuskokwim Mountains. A lot of clear skies south central Alaska today down to Kodiak Island, sunshine North Gulf Coast, and a lot of the panhandle there. Some cirrus, higher cirrus up here to farther back here to the north. And then out to the west, we have high pressure sinking southeastward and weakening, becoming less of a factor now. Still keeping it nice over the Aleutians today, but moisture coming eastward here. You can see a big mass of clouds out here, kind of coming up and then sliding eastward here. Surges of clouds and moisture coming in to the interior here, up in toward the Chukchi Sea area. And this area is shifting eastward now as this high pressure ridge begins to give way. So looking at the forecast for tonight, that front not too strong out there as it passes Shimianatu and pushes in toward Kiskenem, Chitka Islands. Just some breezy conditions with light rain with that. And then the frontal boundary up here in the interior, bringing a widespread area of light snow, or continuing snow here in surges from actually the Yukon here all the way back to the Seward Peninsula, northern Yukon Delta, right up across the Seward Peninsula there into Kotzebue Sound. Starting to improve a little bit back here over the central and western Arctic coast, but still gusty winds, blowing snow here for the east side. Stays fair, varying amounts of mid and high level clouds coming into southern Alaska here, but the farther south you are, the clearer the skies will be. Kodiak Island, for example, should be mostly clear tonight, North Gulf Coast, as well as the southeast coast, with these showers remaining to the west. And then for tomorrow, that trough kind of kicks off to the southeast there, bringing a risk of some shower activity to Dixon Entrance, possibly Heidelberg, Metlakatla, but what if it does occur, it won't be much at all. Low pressure in the Gulf of Alaska with no discernible weather with it, just a few clouds, and that's about it. Otherwise, all the action up here in the interior along this frontal boundary here. We've got from one low there over the Yukon, another one back here just coming off the Russian Far East, and then this frontal action here through the central interior, producing an area of almost persistent snowfall there from the Yukon Flats westward all the way out into the northern Bering Sea. And then that cold front here extending southwestward, bringing some rain into the Pribilof Islands during the day tomorrow, and finally in toward Adak, light rain, fog, drizzle, that sort of thing. Winds, as you can see, the winds won't be too strong, very slack gradient with that front, pretty weak in the southern area, stronger up here to the north, and then high pressure building into the western Brooks Range, dries it out, lightens the winds up there in that part of the state, but still again those gusty west winds and snow and blowing snow for the eastern Arctic coast. And then for Wednesday, another low develops here. So a widespread area of snow again for the North Slope and the Arctic coast, Brooks Range, right on down into the central interior. Becoming quite light here when you get in toward the Kuskokwim Mountains, northern Kuskokwim Valley. This portion of the front really washed out. Some clearing, for example, around Nunivak Island, dry, light winds up towards St. Lawrence Island, and some light precipitation here trying to push into the eastern Aleutians, mostly staying between Nikolsky and Adak with chillier conditions and snow showers for Adak. And for the North Gulf Coast, partly to mostly sunny, variable high clouds coming through, thickening up as you head north into the Susitna Valley and possibly the Copper River Basin as you get closer to this moisture field up here. But sunshine, light winds in store for the southeast coast. And for the day on Thursday, not much change here for the Panhandle or the North Gulf Coast. In fact, all the interior looking pretty good now. High pressure up over the eastern Arctic coast, kind of ridging there eastward and southeastward, keeping it fair, dry with light winds all the way into the northern Bering Sea here. Remnants of this frontal boundary here, just a trough now. Could be some light precipitation here from the lower Yukon River Valley all the way down to the southwest coast. Pribilof Islands, and as it heads south there, it gets a little more organized. A stronger front coming onto the chart here from the south. And that gradient really tightens up with that low center. It's still off the map there, and the higher pressure out here to the west. So snow showers for Adak and Atka, gusty north winds, maybe up to 30 miles an hour, but much stronger winds coming into the eastern Aleutians there, and to a lesser extent for the Alaska Peninsula. Looking at the lows for tonight, generally 5 below to 10 above here for the Arctic coast, north slope into the Brooks Range, 20s and 30s in the interior, mostly in the 30s for the Aleutians, and 20s and lower 30s or mid 30s south central Alaska, near 40 for Kodiak, and in the 30s for the Panhandle. Highs for tomorrow, upper 40s to mid 50s for the southeast coast, anywhere from 10 to 15 for the Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast, 25 to 30 here for the Seward Peninsula, lower 40s for the Aleutians, and back into the 40s across much of southern Alaska and the southeast coast. Lows for Wednesday morning, 5 to 15 below, a little chillier now for the north slope in the Arctic coast, even into the Brooks Range. Otherwise, central interior in the 20s, mostly in the 30s here, south central Alaska, the Kodiak Island, the Aleutians, and the Panhandle. That'll be followed by highs, upper 40s to mid 50s again for the southeast coast, mid 40s Kodiak Island. Also for south central Alaska, even the Copper River Basin into the mid 40s. Mid to upper 30s here for the central interior, and then cooling off into the teens and eventually the single numbers there for the Arctic coast and north slope, while the Aleutians will be mostly in the upper 30s.